Al Jazeera's senior political analyst, Marwan Bishara. He joins us from London. So, Marwan, listening to what Noor was saying there, you've got to wonder and ask the question, is Netanyahu listening to any of those statements and calls by Antony Blinken?
It doesn't seem like it. That's the short answer. And it's no surprise there because he's been humiliating and turning his back on the Biden administration for a year now. If you remember, throughout the year, each and every time the Americans made a proposal, he ignored it. And each time they said, don't do that, he did. And they ended up following in his footsteps. There's no reason to believe Netanyahu has any incentive to do what the Biden administration is telling him, when each and every time he does what he wants, and he's rewarded for it, regardless of whether he listened or not.
And as you mentioned, this can't be a surprise to this US administration. Any sign at this point it might be willing to use some of its leverage to back up its call? I mean, let's face it, the US has displayed throughout its history that it does know how to use, can we call it, a wide range of foreign policy tools when it's not happy with a country, from sanctions to invasions to coups, right?
Well, the short answer is that Biden, 2 weeks into the elections, is a lame duck president. He has no leverage, and he actually missed a chance. If there's anything that could have been done, it should have been through the conviction that this is actually good for Israel. It's even good for this damn government. The sense that they've killed what they could kill, they destroyed what they could destroy, and now they could actually capitalize on it. To put this in a quick historical context, I'll tell you the following. For the past 50 years, the Americans came to the region after each and every war. From the 1973 October War, we had Kissinger, 1982 invasion of Lebanon. We had Schultz, 1991 first Gulf War, we had Baker. Second Gulf War, we had Rice and Powell. And then we had Clinton, and so on and so forth. And each and every time an American diplomat shows up after a war and tries to capitalize on the so-called victory in order to cement Israeli gains against the Arabs. In most occasions, the Israelis said, no, this is not enough. We want more from the Arabs. We want more concessions. We want surrender. And each and every time, the Americans could not deliver a total surrenders by the Arabs, so we went into one diplomatic crisis into another. But the American role has always been, for the past 50 years, is at the service of its ally Israel. Again, from Kissinger on to Blinken, their role is to see how best they can serve Israel after each and every war. And each time, the Israelis say, well, maybe not, we want more.
So how can people take seriously the calls and the statements being put out by Antony Blinken if things are as you say, Marwan?
You know, Blinken in particular, right? I mean, I have issues with Blinken. We had issues with all of them, from Kissinger on to Pompeo. But Blinken has a way about him, right? He says the nastiest things in the nicest ways. There's this soft-spoken diplomat that looks timid, but everything that comes out of him is almost poisonous. Every time he shows up to the region, we have an increased violence against Palestinians and now Lebanese. Each time he shows up in the region, there's more emboldened, more bombastic Israeli government. And we know now for a fact, apparently, according to American reports, that he lied to Congress, that his cabinet lied to Congress about what Israel was doing to aid, basically blocking it to Gaza. We know that America basically has been complicit in Israel's weaponizing of hunger. He knew about it. He deceived Congress when it came to that. So Blinken is the last person today in America who's going to be delivering Israel to the Biden administration. If anything, he's delivering the Biden administration to the Netanyahu government.
Right, Marwan Bishara there, Al Jazeera's senior political analyst.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.